There are only two components of an e-commerce business, and in this video, I'm hoping to make it nice and simple to illustrate and show you the two main parts of basically any business, but I'm gonna be talking about e-commerce because we actually build e-commerce businesses every day. By the way, if you're new to the channel, my name is Matthew. I own thebusinessbuilders.com, and we build around 5 e-com brands every single month for people that are looking to transition out of the 9 to 5. And so let's jump straight into the video. So there are only two parts of an e-com brand, okay? Keep it nice and simple. Things don't need to be complicated. The first thing is what you give to customers. The next thing is how you get customers. So you can have the most incredible thing to give to people, but if you never go into the square, or if you never go into the Westfields or the Kmart or whatever to show off your product and scream from the rooftops, then no one's gonna see your product, no one's gonna buy it. So without this, you don't have this. Without this, you don't have that, right? You can get as many customers you want, but if they have nothing to buy, you're not gonna have a business, right? So the first thing is what you give to customers, okay? Now, the thing that I'm very big on is high perceived value products. So products that, bring a massive outcome with very little cost. Now, a perfect example of these products are like lip plumpers, lipsticks, glosses, shampoos. A shampoo might cost you $2 to produce, but you can sell it for $49. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's not, the actual price of the product isn't tied into what it's gonna cost to produce, but what it's gonna do for people, okay? So high perceived value. That's the first thing, what you give to customers. Second thing is profitability. You need to make sure that your unit economics of your product is very, very clear and straightforward. So you wanna make sure that you know exactly how much you can charge, for the product. So what's your sale price? You need to know exactly how much shipping is gonna cost. You need to know exactly what the cost of acquiring a customer is gonna cost. So your CAC, right? And then you also need to know exactly what your gross margins are to be able to pay for the rest of the expenses of the business. Now, that might sound really obvious, but a lot of people don't do that. So it's super important to check your profitability, okay? So next thing is presentation. You wanna make sure that your product looks really presentable. In our last video, we just spoke about a solar panel charger. Now, if I created the most crappy product images around that product, then it's not gonna sell. You need to hire a photographer, hire videographers, and make sure that you create professional style content around the product. Now, if you're like, been in e-commerce for any time now, you might be thinking like, hey, what about, UGC, user generated content and influencers? Those do play a part, but on the product page, it needs to look clean, it needs to look crisp, it needs to look professional. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is speed to delivery. You wanna make sure that your product, your service is quick to get to the customer, okay? So the lower this time period is gonna be, the easier it's gonna be for people to buy, okay? So for example, with our e-com brands, we have some products that go directly from China to the country of sale. That allows us to basically ship globally, allows us to scale very quickly, but the downside is what? It takes around 7 days to get to the customer. People can be pretty impatient about that. Whereas if we send it to a 3PL in the local country, so if we send it to a third-party fulfillment center in the US and we're sending it to the US customers, then we're gonna have high speed to delivery and people are gonna be happier, okay? So the next thing is promises. All your products and your services need to have promises. So for example, in thebusinessbuilders.com, we have a guarantee, which is we'll get you to 10K per month in 90 days, all your money back. So we're guaranteeing people get their e-com brand to $10,000 in revenue within a 90-day period, or we give them all their money back. Now, if we cannot deliver on this promise, we need to have risk reversal, okay? So that's the money back component. When it comes to an e-com brand, let's say you're selling a lip plumper, you're gonna say fuller lips, noticeably fuller lips, which is the big promise, okay? Or your money back in 30 days. Now, you've got your promise and you've got your risk reversal. So these are basically the most important parts of what you're gonna give to a customer. You're gonna have a high value perceived product. You're gonna have to make sure that you're profitable. You're gonna have to make sure it presents really, really well. You're gonna have a low speed to delivery, okay? That's super important. You're gonna make sure that you big promises that can be delivered though. Never make a big promise you can't make good on. So make a big promise and then also put a risk reversal so that people can easily back out. This will allow more people to buy, okay? It's super important as well to add into there a time period. So notice when we talked about that lip plumper, we said, fuller lips, noticeably in minutes, or your money back in 30 days, okay? So minutes is like the most important thing because people are like, well, how long is it gonna take me to get bigger lips? Is it gonna take me like 30 days? Do I need to apply it every day? You wanna be super clear on how long it's gonna take, okay? All right, next thing is how to get customers. So you've got a really good product, you've got a really good store, you've got, you know your numbers, you know the product makes sense financially, you've got a big promise, all that stuff is sorted. Now we'll talk about getting customers, okay? We're gonna expand on this in different videos, but just as a high level overview, there are mostly 3 ways to reach customers. So the first one is ads. So you can run ads. Now I'm a big fan of ads. It's kind of really the only thing that I'm very, very big on, and that is Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads. My recommendation, if you're looking at this and you're starting a business from scratch, I would look into meta ads. Meta ads is probably the balance between a reasonable cost of acquiring a customer, and then on top of that, it's quite easy to use. Google ads is quite complicated, TikTok is very erratic, whereas meta ads is very, very stable. So my recommendation is to go for meta ads. When it comes to organic, what is organic? So organic is basically creating content, posting it online, and allowing people to organically get views, okay? So this will be content like this, where I'm not paying to get the views, but at the same time, I need to create valuable content that people are willing to watch. You know, hopefully you're still paying attention. So this is like organic content, okay? So the organic content is really gonna serve to basically feed into your paid ads. There's something in paid ads called ad fatigue. Basically, when you go onto your main platform, your dashboard, you can go to a metric called frequency. And frequency basically shows you how many times the same person is gonna see the ad. Now, if you only have 3 ads and you're spending $1,000 a day, the chances are is that the same person is gonna see your ad a little bit too much. So you can see your ad frequency might be at 2, which is an indicator that people are seeing your ads too much. So the way that you battle that is creating fresh content, fresh ads. But you can also serve by posting them on organic, okay? So you post it on organic and then you upload it onto your paid ads to be able to promote your product even further, okay? So paid ads, you've got organic, and then you've got cold outreach. Now, cold outreach might not be appropriate for most direct-to-consumer e-commerce products like a lip plumper, but if you are selling other products like 3D printers, we recently went to the Canton Fair in China, and they were showing off ceramic 3D printers. It basically creates like pots. We bought a bunch of them for our house, and it's a 3D printer that actually makes incredible pots. So normally made by hand or by machine. This 3D printer, you know, you can actually just boot it. You know, so like, you know, they might cost like $5,000 to $20,000, and a lot of brands might want to sell that. A lot of big businesses. So direct business to business, it'll be very appropriate for cold outreach. Okay, so those are the 2 main aspects of e-commerce businesses. What you give to customers, how you get customers. I hope that's been helpful. By the way, I've got a free gift for you, completely free, costs you $0. It's a free course on the school platform. All you need to do is click the link below and I will show you my exact process on how we find unlimited e-com products. So I'm gonna show you exactly what we do here at the Business Builders to build out 60 businesses every single year for people without going absolutely insane. I hope it's gonna be valuable to you. It's gonna have spreadsheets and bonuses. Click the link below and I'll see you over there.